Puke cats on laptops, so check it out. You're a UPS delivery man in a post-apocalyptic future, making deliveries and connecting walled cities to a future internet that runs off the same death dimension that spilled over into our world, creating a plague of strange phenomena that change how humanity interacts with time and the dead, including rain that fast-forwards everything it touches and ghost-like creatures that explode with the force and scale of a nuclear bomb when they eat a living human being. Sounds cool, right? And no, I'm not on ayahuasca. I don't even know what ayahuasca is. This is Death Stranding, a game by Hideo Kojima and his 199 mind clones that he controls while he sleeps. I was convinced that Death Stranding would never come out because it looked too bananas. Fortunately, when I made that prediction, I had forgotten one singular fact. Bananas are delicious. As has been expressed in quantifiably 1 billion tweets, Death Stranding is a walking simulator in the truest sense of the word. There are complex and nuanced simulations in place to make the majority of the game compelling, even though, once again, all you really do is walk, or drive a bad motorcycle, or drive a bad truck. I've heard people complain that this game isn't fun. I've then heard people defend this game by saying, does a game need to be fun? I would defend this game by saying that it is fun. I have found joy in the process. Receiving an order, checking and planning your route, preparing your gear, putting that plan into action, and, of course, improvising when that plan goes directly into the toilet. Like a big, shimmery poo. It's akin to the process in Monster Hunter, only without all of the animal murder. I would then posit that Death Stranding is technically no more repetitive or monotonous than your typical first-person shooter, RPG, or racing game. The rush I feel when getting a critical hit on an enemy or round a perfect corner in a racing game is one and the same with the rush I feel when navigating the gorgeous terrain and keeping my cargo nice and tidy in Death Stranding. In earnest, there's nothing really quite like it. I remember the exhilarating feeling of dread when I first spotted a mule truck making a beeline for my position, or abandoning my bike to make it through a particularly menacing gauntlet of BTs, only to find it again in perfect time to make a split-second getaway from a nasty party of mules, dashing through rocks, every second counts, then losing it in a gulch and bullshitting my way up a mountain like a goat that ate too much cauliflower. A thing I don't know if goats can eat. Well, friends, after a cursory Google search, I still am unaware if goats can eat cauliflower. However, they can eat bananas. And I made reference to bananas earlier, so this is a fun callback. There are many subtle things that make Death Stranding feel special, but one stands out in particular. And it's a bit blue, or yellow, I suppose you could say. Ugh. And no, I'm not talking about bananas. Yeah, I know we get it. I'm talking about piss. Oh Lord. There's a button that lets you piss. Can you even imagine? I suppose we don't have to now. You may think it just a crass, needless joke, but I think it's indicative of Death Stranding as a whole, the gamification of otherwise ignored human functions. We know about punching, kicking, shooting, laser beam, but we don't often think about piss. Yet, everyone does. You're probably pissing right now. You're really into that pee button, ain't ya? Mr. Octopus, there's a button in this video game that lets you piss. How are we supposed to talk about anything else? Yeah, but you don't have to. Wherever you're standing in America's Great Ireland, you can piss. It even leaves behind a fun holographic mushroom. And I don't understand that at all. Death Stranding is a game concerned about the human experience, and while the story may hit you over the head with a chrome baseball bat to the actual literal head that you have, the rest of the game cashes that check. Everything from the smooth and readable animations to the disparate textures and materials that make up the landscape. Death Stranding takes more commonly relatable human actions and gamifies them in a way that other developers abstract into system form. I never found being over-encumbered fun in the Fallout games, or the Elder Scrolls games, or any games, but Death Stranding is a game where your inventory is boxes on your physical back. The more boxes you have, the higher the chance you have of falling over. The fewer boxes, the less reward you're willing to risk for. Playing right up against the line of usability is one of the key calculations that you have to make in a game that is otherwise about taking pleasant hikes in the Irish countryside of America, doubling down on this idea of humanity and connection by allowing you to place objects that other players can use in their world. There have been moments where I have blessed the heavens for a ladder or a climbing rope that has saved me and all of my packages. Seemingly needless things like post boxes, watchtowers, and other things that I forget to name take their place alongside obviously useful items like bridges and zip lines, as each item's utility unfolds alongside the game's increasingly intricate challenges. Something as simple as using the triggers to balance yourself, instead of shooting or swinging a blade, reframes the way you calculate your place in the world. The same way Halo uses different enemy groupings and placements to mix up gameplay and introduce interesting challenges to the player, Death Stranding uses gravel, rock formations, and steep inclines to keep the player on their toes, sometimes literally. As they refine their routes and build up infrastructure that not only makes their journeys easier, but emphasizes asynchronous cooperation. Don't have enough resources to build that one stretch of road? Well, might as well pile in what you do have so some stranger can finish the job, making the route easier for both of you. Stealing a marauder's truck in Death Stranding early on is exhilarating, and losing that truck at the bottom of a gulch is devastating, but in a good way, because video games. As Kojima's masterpiece slowly becomes a metaphor on human connection in a lonely world, seeing what others left behind and leaving something behind for others.
Wow, I was surprised. You actually kind of turned that one around.
And there's a button that lets you piss.